I don't know of any other theater company that uses guerrilla tactics of urban identification through the arts quite the same way that it does.
I love Quantum. I love the fact that Carla is like the Mother Courage of theater, that she goes into a new place every single time and reconceives places, plays, and really pays attention to how the space informs the piece that's being done there.
To see a bigger picture all the time, to see where things fit into it. Of course, you don't necessarily end up where you might have thought you would from the beginning, but we are so rewarded by the unexpected and by what we cannot control.
Okay, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to take it from the end of this, going to see your peaking. Cute.
It's going to be a show that you've never seen in a place you've never been. No one else in town is doing a giant Baroque opera with Shakespeare.
And go.
Well, I guess it got started because I'd had these fabulous experiences in Los Angeles when I went to CalArts, and I worked with these innovative types, and I knew that that was what I wanted to do. I thought I needed a city I understood, of a scale where what I could bring might matter and be different. So I came to Pittsburgh to found the company. It was an original work adapted from a great Mexican novel called Pedro Páramo. We found this crazy place in East Liberty and we completely transformed it. There was no season back then. It was like show to show. You know, I don't believe that I knew I was really starting a company, to tell you the truth. I wanted to make a work. And then after that, I wanted to make another work.
Quantum theater is the urban experience of community-based theater. It's bringing the theater to the neighborhood and utilizing spaces that have never been thought of as a theater before.
To some degree, I like what you can't control and some sense of things from the outside coming in.
Yeah.
I personally, like it, but it is risky and crazy to sort of not know.
Along the way, along the experimental way, we have jettisoned quite a number of things that were what I would call traditions or givens, and one of them was the theater. You know, the theater felt really confining and really sort of stultifying, and people brought a lot of expectations to going to a theater. We said, what if we made the work in a place that's not a theater? And immediately it yielded a lot. There was a nobility to standing up in that dirty steel mill and saying your 400-year-old lines from Shakespeare. There was a oneness with the world of nature, maybe in an outdoor environment. All kinds of things started to come from it, and audiences really responded to it too. Everybody feels like they're together inside the piece of work. You're in there with the people who are receiving it, and that exchange really is the heart of the theater. Everybody started to love it. The designers obviously would love that there was a new palette to work with.
There's probably no leaks in the roof.
No.
What will we do?
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like this one too. A lot of times the space that we look at have some connection to the play. This is about the master builder, so it's about architecture and towering buildings. So Carla tends to try to find a space that has a bit of a design to it already. What I do design that adds to that space, I like it to feel like we didn't do anything. That's when I feel like, wow, I did a great job, because they don't really know that we did anything. They just think the space is perfect. So it's just great to come in and go, okay, what's it going to be this time?
All right, you got it?
25.
Because we've been in places that weren't heated, and we were in them in the dead of winter. So yeah, you got to expect the unexpected with Quantum.
We really like to engage with neighborhoods, and we've seen a lot of change in neighborhoods over time. And we, at this point, like to think that we had something to do with positive movement forward in a neighborhood.
Once you start to see artistic expression in a place that people had forgotten about, then people start thinking differently about that neighborhood.
It was beautiful to bring people to Braddock, to discover in the basement of the Braddock Carnegie Library this white ceramic tile pool that was the state of the art in 1890. So you go under the Bloomfield Bridge down Gross Street, and it's like a courtyard in the back of the building. But it just screamed Shakespeare to me. And that was the show where the trains went by, right? So we loved the site so much that we accepted, as we have to sometimes, a thing that we could not control.
Here we are! If you've anything left to say to us, speak quickly!
It seems wonderful to perform in a steel mill. It's not so wonderful to put in all the utilities for a 2-month period of time and then have half of them not work, you know? I mean, the audience has been very famously wrapped under blankets watching somebody take a shower in 40-degree temperatures.
Hi. Call me. Bye. Message erased.
2 shows in Quantum's history have ever really been in a theater. There was one show that was at the old Carnegie Music Hall over in Braddock, and then the Winter's Tale. Not that that was really a theater, but at least it was a place that had seats.
One.
Well, I'd asked Bob Page, the great Robert Page at CMU, to be my music director on Leonard Bernstein's Candide. And he said no to me. It was very rough for me. And he said, I'd like to introduce you to this young man, Andres Cladera.
Carla Booth and I met at Tazzadoro in Highland Park. And I think, how could I describe that meeting? I was terrified.
So I go to have coffee with Andres. You know, I wanted Robert Page, and the rest is really history.
That moment really shifted and really transformed my career as a conductor and as a creator, as an artist.
I had never met a music person who was really willing to make a piece of theater, to the degree that I wanted to make theater using music as its language.
Carla was looking for a place where we could create this piece. And we ended up in a defunct car dealership. We had a singer quit the moment that we entered, and because it was too filthy for her. Please. But what an incredible show we created, because it made sense theatrically and it made sense musically.
I just always want to be doing things that I've never done before, that I don't quite understand. So I'm attracted to people who make work or are artists in ways that have nothing to do with my way.
To get to tell a story is a big deal. And we have the opportunity right now that someone else is supporting us telling stories. And so many times the note from Quantum, from anyone at Quantum, is like, do what you think is right. Do what you're excited about. They ask us questions about why we make the decisions we make, but they don't tell us what decisions to make. And it's just empowered us as artists.
Why did you leave me alone with her? How could you leave me alone with her?
She threw me out. I was 18.
It's always good to have to ask yourself the most basic questions. And when you're collaborating with someone who's from a different world, you really have to defend some of your own primary principles. And you might shed a bunch of them along the way in that defense. And you might adopt somebody else's, and you might say, well, their way is better.
There's a lot of moments where we'll be debating a decision, and Carla will listen really respectfully, and then at the end of it be like, that's great, now let's see them. Let's look at it. Let's actually do the thing that we're talking about and then make a decision.
Seriously, pick something. I will be there for you 100%, but as it stands, you can barely manage to feed 4 chickens.
I think I've been learning from all kinds of people and their perspectives for a long time, but I guess I'm a director on a deep level, and I want to use the great talents of other people toward my own end. And you have to, of course, bring people into that vision and make your end theirs for it to really work as a collaboration.
Can we please be ready for the dressing of the kings right now? Thank you.
And then you guys, so then what do you do? From up there, what happens?
There are a lot of different silhouettes on stage, and I love having the openness that Tony Ferrari has made in the scenery. What that allows me to do is play with scale and play with shape.
We work in a very unusual way as a team. The professional theater gives people their budgets, and they go their separate ways, and they come together to show each other what their production element looks like, right? Ours don't do that. We come together over the idea. We determine what the most important elements will be. Often we don't know. I mean, we've never been in the site. We don't know what the sweet spots are. It's why we must work on site and do from the very first day. The designers really have to be present. You have to hang out in rehearsal and wait for the thing, the brilliant thing, to happen in front of you.
Isn't that brilliant?
Well, the Quantum way, I guess, is just go for it. Really, give it a shot. You say, yeah, I really want to do it, and then it's like, what are we doing? Everyone figures it out, and then it's showtime.
It was the biggest collaboration we'd ever done. Everyone cared very much about their own work. You have to somehow come together for a whole that everybody feels is their whole.
The idea of creating a brand new opera was a daunting process. But magically, it happened.
as I go forward with my maniacal plans as an artist and my desire to make ever more outrageous work, I challenge myself, and I want to be surrounded by people who challenge themselves. These folks are deep, deep collaborators. Everybody loves what the sites have to offer, and that is a very deep collaboration that is really, really key and I think unique to Quantum.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be in Anywhere USA. They want to be somewhere that it has character and flavor, creativity, and something that makes it very genuine. Quantum Theater is able to capture all of that.